I'm truly not a music person, but I do think I have been called here to represent my late companion, Dr. Bhupen Hazarika. Dr. Bhupen Hazarika, as we all know, is a national, international icon. But I would say hardly 10 years ago, when I had accompanied him to a very well-known music label to try to create an album of what he wanted to say was sounds of Northeast, because to him it was always an undivided Assam. Assam was not the fragmented Assam as it is today, which has been fragmented politically. So he wanted to bring that album through as a means of integration, which was his mission in his entire life. He was truly the Messiah who integrated northeastern India and wedded it to the rest of India only through his journey of strife, pain and difficulty, and was able to spread by interpreting folk music and fusing it with his own creative tunes. And he was refused. Bihu was introduced to me by Bhupen Hazarika. I was very young, and to be very honest, when I first heard Bihu songs, I just looked at Bhupen and I said, my God, such cacophony. And you know, the sound of the pepa. Pepa is a kind of rudimentary horn, which then Bhupen made me understand was supposed to be the mating call. Because Bihu is the season of unexplored sexuality. It is a season where the river Brahmaputra is not in spate but gurgling away in happiness. And Bihu is the season of harvest, when this riverine civilization lives on, depends on that harvest, and it's a celebration of life and a pinnacle of joy. That's what Bihu is. And even today, Assam and Northeast is represented by 3 Bs only: the Brahmaputra, Bihu and Bhupen. And what is very interesting is, Bhupen was not a Bihu singer, and Bhupen was not an interpreter of Bihu music. But what was fascinating was, being such a great poet and such a great social reformist, he has written a number of songs blending it with the traditional Bihu tunes, but the lyrics are dynamic. They range from unemployment, desire for education, doing away with the oppression of the capitalist, every kind of socialist, communist feeling that he had for the upliftment of society. He has blended it so beautifully with the Bihu tune so that it could penetrate right down to the peasant. And he told me a very wonderful instance. He was called then, which is many, many decades ago, he was called by the government of India to accompany them to have talks with the Naga rebels. And they felt that Bhupen Hazarika was truly the only unifying face of Northeast. And as he was driving through Nagaland, he heard some peasants singing in the field. And he got down and he walked up to them and he said, "That's a very familiar song." And the peasant looked at him and said, "Yeah, well, this has been oral tradition, you know. My great-grandfather taught it to my grandfather taught it to my father, and I'm singing it now." So Bhupen looked at him and said, "Do you know I have composed and written the song?" And the peasant said, "Ha!" So what he was fascinated was that whatever he had done by using folk music from the Northeast and reinterpreting it with his own creative music, whether it was an infusion of raga or whether it was his own brilliance, I don't know, but he actually penetrated the whole of Eastern India with 3,000 songs and made it very clear that folk music cannot be presented eternally in its rudimentary form. It has to be recreated and rearranged to reach out to you, the sophisticated ear. And that is the only way he felt that the wail of that singer, the agony of the soul of the oppressed labor, the passion and pain of unrequited love of a young girl waiting for the mahout who goes out hunting on an elephant and doesn't come back, the pathos of a widow who cries on the banks of the Brahmaputra because her husband has gone fishing and has died in the storm when the Brahmaputra is in spate. So he wove rhythm, labor, emotions, the 9 navaras that is prevalent in every form of theatre, music, dance and life. Can you imagine? He was born in 1926 in a remote town near the Chinese border, where today the Brahmaputra has deviated and it's a dry bed. And that journey of a single person cutting across 75 to 80 years, reaching the corridors of power and reaching world stage single-handedly, has allowed you to come today to listen to Sunita, who will carry on this tradition and legacy. So I think we should give her a great hand. Bihu will entice you. Bihu is an extremely colorful, pulsating music, and it's so wonderful that it will soon join the ranks of Bhangra and other folk tunes. And I wish Bhupen was alive today to have seen what he struggled for 75 years is finally coming to fruition. Thank you.